All right. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully not muted here this AM. I think it should be okay today. But yeah, hope everyone's having themselves a great Thursday AM, ready to go after what should be hopefully most of the headlines right out of the way for a long time, or at least like the big ones out of the way here for a long time and kind of like fingers crossed, right, that we get pretty nice little smooth window of trading from now up until like American Thanksgiving or so. So very, very interested to see what's in store for us here and basically how things can come together. From a base expectation here, right? It's been a really big gap up morning. So kind of just watching, right, how those gaps are going to behave. There's still going to be like a little bit of an element of paranoia it assuming that markets are still going to be choppy and indecisive until proven otherwise. But hopefully, right, today we can get ourselves a pretty strong trading day. Yesterday was a good session, right? No complaints over how we traded there yesterday. Emphasis is for me to do more of the same. I've really enjoyed trading using the or waiting effectively for a fake out and some of like the I wouldn't say looser stop loss rules, but being able to be more selective between the aggressive and pullback technique has been really nice here this week, right? So, looking to continue that story and yeah, being really patient for my entries and building things out from there. So yesterday, really strong day. Yesterday and we'll say Tuesday. Yesterday was Wednesday, right? So yesterday and Tuesday combined, we've paid for 4 or 5 losses, right? Which is really good. So really continuing to focus on good risk management, right? And then targeting good risk reward ratios. And we'll keep making sure that the math works in our favor. The reality with trading, right, is that it's just a numbers game. Like the more that we can believe that, trade that, and structure our accounts to survive that, the better things go. So from my perspective, that's really the number one priority here, or the most important element is how can I make sure that my process is consistent so that I'm creating good data? How can I learn from those decisions? And then how can I make sure I'm staying within my parameters so that, yeah, my technique does work out for me long term? Because everyone's going to lose. We're all going to have red days. We're all going to have red weeks. Heck, we might even have some red months over the course of our careers. But if we change our behaviors, right, when we're struggling, that tends to be when you get to like a blow up moment. And when we fight through the storm and we focus on the variables we can control, that's when our trading goes well, right? That's when we see improvement. That's where we get growth and ultimately how you build confidence as a trader. I think a big part of what this stream is seeing what that process is like on a month to month, right, year to year, quarter to quarter basis. And yeah, we'll keep riding those highs and lows together here, team. But excited to see what's in store here today. So, from an economic calendar perspective, right, we do have a little bit of a busier economic calendar, right? We do have some data here at 10. Again, probably shouldn't be a monster or anything I'd be super paranoid or worried about. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Should realistically mean that I'm probably just not going to get a very aggressive early open here. And with the size of the overnight gap up, that also would make a little bit of sense. With that being said, let's start doing the counts here and figure out our trading plan. So yesterday, okay, FOMC, we were obviously expecting an increasing volume profile. First Fed rate where they've cut rates in a very long time. So it's the first cut of the tightening cycle, and they cut by 25 basis points. Pretty much right away on that narrative, there were a bunch of stories, comments, whatever, that it wasn't enough of a cut. But Powell's not really one to do surprises. So not really too much stock into that volume profile. In reality, it is technically a 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume, but it is reasonable for me to have a bias in either direction here. And the candle shape, right, really indicates that as well. A lot of those dip buyers, right, we're going to be inside the FOMC announcement. So initially a bit of a sell the news type move, and then post his press conference, a nice little buyback, right? And kind of go from there. So we saw a lot of dip buyers defending yesterday's narrative. Let's see if they basically show up again here today and are ready to push and really keep going. To the upside here, we'd be targeting 6,700 as our starting point here. So round numbers, kind of where we've stalled out in the past. And then 6720 would be sort of a long-term sort of barrier. And then to the downside here, 6660 is going to be our target. Excuse me. Yeah, I cannot shake this cough. It's crazy. All right. NQ, very similar narrative here. Again, not putting too much stock into yesterday's volume, because I am expecting there to always be increasing volume on FOMC, especially on tightening day. And then to the upside here, we should be going, I'm going to go 800 as my starting point. And if I always look at probably the market with a little bit of NQ tilted goggles. So, take this maybe with a little bit of a grain of salt, but pre-market NQ is behaving stronger than ES. And I say that just because we're above that Tuesday high, right? So ES is kind of under that psychological level. NQ still maintaining strength above that. That for sure is sticking out to me here this morning a little bit. So it is interesting, but yeah, we'll see if those stories kind of like sync up a little bit. Probably the worst case scenario would be a divergence here today between ES and NQ. So yeah, if we can get them to both be above, that would be pretty fantastic. To the downside here, we're gonna be targeting 24.5. And then we're filled out okay from there. Okay, CL back under 64. I don't like. Give me an inside bar there yesterday as well. I'm going to go 64.50 once it clears above 64. I would actually probably argue that may be a little bit easier for me to have a bearish narrative here. That 64 has been such a big number for CL for a while. I think we could probably get down to like 62, maybe 61.50. I'll go 63. That's plenty of space. And we always have to be a bit worried about that 5% restriction, but we should be well within those confines today. We can go down to 60, 50, but that's fine. So it looks pretty sharp. Let's see how it goes. Okay, Apple inside bar. Tesla 3 for 3 to the upside. What a beast Tesla is since the buybacks. Okay. Microsoft, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 1 for 3. Amazon, 2 out of 3 with vol to the downside. NVIDIA, big gap up. Bottom up, gap fill, pretty interesting. So again, 2 out of 3 with vol. Massive gap. And then this would be a mean reversion setup again. So kind of seems like NVIDIA is trying to fill that gap in the second most obvious way. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see a sell-off to fill into that like 173.30. AMD, big gap down, 3 for 3 here to the downside. But again, such a big gap down would probably indicate mean reversion more than continuation. Meta, surprisingly stable here this morning. Actually, they had a kind of disastrous product launch yesterday with Zuckerberg. not exactly fantastic. A Netflix, 2 out of 3 with vol to the upside. And then Google, red candle decreasing. Technically increasing, but barely. And so we'll call this again weak. 2 out of 3 to the upside, or sorry, to the downside with vol. Looks like consolidation, right? I.e., it's still very much stuck inside that Monday range. And then the old Vixaruni here, 15 spot 09, away from that 14.33 here this AM. So implied range still less than 1%. So yeah, probably if we're going to get a bullish scenario, probably best for us to play breakouts towards, 720 and, that 800 versus huge moves necessarily above. We've already done a pretty decent sized chunk here this morning, right? So the implied range to the upside or the implied move to the upside has already been 1%. That could be a little bit challenging for us to continue to get big follow through. I think probably the other element, right, is markets love to move in the second most obvious direction here oftentimes. And everyone's been waiting for FOMC. So maybe one more like letdown, slow day or pullback day before we start to get some nice enthusiasm would also not be too surprising here this morning. So let's see how the day shapes up, where momentum kind of comes together. But pretty optimistic, pretty excited to see what's in store here today. And hopefully we can get ourselves off on the right foot and keep building on what has been a very strong week. Any questions here today, team, or anything along those lines? All right, perfect. Great to hear, Mike. All right, guys, I'm just gonna go make myself a quick cup of coffee. I'll be back in 90 seconds. All right, so we're back. Hey, great to see you in here, Corinna. Hope you had yourself a great summer and are ready to keep crushing it here. All right, so let's see what markets have in store today and what we got going on. Again, kind of expecting probably a little bit of a slower start to this AM, right? So almost like letting the market digest the first 30 minutes or so, and then we'll go from there. Now, obviously, I'm willing to be proven wrong and to trade if something sets up, but let's just be a little bit patient here. We don't need to rush into something just for the sake of feeling alive. Today is all about being controlled and disciplined and making sure we're managing our variables well, right? So that's the obsession here today. Really all I care about. So let's put ourselves in a good situation. The only thing that matters. Let's see if NQ can get over 7. Close, but no cigar by the looks of it. And again, right, we're back to just trading NQ1, right, or ES1 and CL1 or whatever. Like only like 1 day a year, maybe, or 2 days a quarter, sorry. And we have to make that switch to a specific monthly contract. So we should be back to normal here today. So far, pretty good reaction to the 700 breakout. I'm impressed. Yeah, I think I definitely just jinxed it there, but fine. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a slower opening 4 minutes than I maybe would have expected. Yeah, for sure, kind of expected more enthusiasm there. See if it holds. Ooh, just at the very end, it said no. Not sure how you guys feel, but for me, very much feels like things are moving in slow motion so far. Strange start. Hey, what's up, Rusty? How'd your pre-market go? Not quite increasing volume on that. Nice work, Rusty. That's awesome. Yeah, 6 points of risk is really fun on I'm guessing that's NQ today you traded it. So I have 24,671 here. It's the same price. There's no difference now. Yesterday, right, there was a little bit of an issue because we were dealing with the futures roll, right? So there's a spread between the September and the December contract. And so you probably were seeing the September price still being reflected. But that should be over and done with now. That's really why we focus on trading the what will be the forward contract right around that roll date, is so that we can avoid that confusion. Again, guys, I would recommend, if you have a little bit of time when things are quiet, to go read up on what a futures contract is, right, and how it works. Because I would say that just like, basic understanding of what that product is and its structures and its like parameters will allow you to be able to self-solve a lot of those types of questions. But effectively, right, a futures contract is an agreement to buy something at a future date and a future price. And so that needs to have some sort of period, right, where it locks in. So Investopedia is a great resource for that, if not some of the DTR material. But I would say that that is core reading or core understanding for everyone. All right, so we're getting a possible setup here to the downside on NQ. Very similar scenario here on ES as well. 18 minutes until market data. Yeah, not necessarily expecting it to be a huge event. For now, I'd like for my stop loss to be 692. Now, it does make it a little bit challenging because I would need an entry like 675-ish or better to be able to pull that off. On the aggressive technique, I just don't have as much space. Very nice, Rusty. Yeah, post that in the vetted prop firms. Yeah, so NQZ is the December contract. Right now, the forward contract on NQ1 is December. So it's the same thing, right? Okay, so let's keep an eye on this short here. We got a little bit of work to do before this is ready. Still got to go like 25 points. Ouch, now I have to wait. Sweet trading view. Crushing it today. No, I just turn off some of those visibility stuff, right? So you can put all these sort of values, right? And it'll tell you what you're doing and all this kind of stuff. I just have those labels removed. Again, guys, we really need to focus on understanding those base variables. This should not be what we're using the stream to educate ourselves about. I think we've been very clear over how the futures role works and what that means. If you're having a glitch or your ES1 or NQ1 isn't working as you expect, just trade the December contract, right? It's going to be the exact same thing. So there's a billion different workarounds here already. Let's not get lost up in details that we can control very, very easily because it's honestly going to drive me insane. I mean, this should give us an increasing volume perspective here. Question is, will it give us a strong enough candle close? Bouncing right off 600 as well is maybe a little bit suspicious. That could be setting up as a pretty nice little reversal signal for us as well. So 40 seconds here. And not a strong enough candle close for me to play that as a reversal. Not a strong enough candle close for me to play that as a action. Yeah, so 5 minutes still showing the September price, which is really annoying. So we'll stick to it for here for now on just the December contract, right? So again, this should be the same as ES1 and NQ1, right? It's the same thing. TradingView is just being stupid in how it's reflecting, which is being a pain in the butt. Nice work. Congratulations. Okay, so we can get that increasing volume here for this 5-minute reversal. So second most bullish candle, normal body bullish candle, or most bullish candle shape, right? So candle 1, 2, or 3. And then on increasing volume relative to previous bar and above that white line. So for me, the setup, right, is the fake out under, right? So the setup is moving under 625 and then going back up above. The confirmation is if that candle closes on strong candle shape, increasing outlier volume. The confirmation candle and confirmation volume is the same for every single trade. So it doesn't matter if it's a reversal or if it's a breakout or if it's a breakdown. We're looking for the same type of candle shapes each time. So there is no unique characteristic here that we're looking for. All the trades, guys, that we take every single time should have the same type of confirmation candle, same type of confirmation volume. The only difference, right, will be sometimes the color will be different, right? Just based on the direction that we're trading. Like what we're looking for should be muscle memory because it's the same thing every time. Pretty big stop that would be required here. 7-8 points just to get this entry is not worth it for me yet. So I'm going to wait until this breaks out above the opening range high. All right, so I mean, this on the 3-min could also be in play here. And again, this is my setup, right? The fake out lower, my confirmation, increasing outlier volume, full body bullish candle. Again, same thing every time, right? Well, let's see if this thing fakes out first. So for now, stop loss would be 682, 24, 682. Be very patient on this though, right? what we've seen and what we would like to probably continue to see, right, is establish a confirmation, see bears fail, then look for an entry. We want to see that fake out get established first. So we got a little bit of time here. Don't know that yet. We're still waiting for this to behave appropriately. Once I know that we have a fake out in place or that prices behave the right way, I'll draw my reference price and it'll be a blue line and everyone will be able to see that. Just jumping a little bit ahead here. All right now, guys, is we have an appropriate setup, but I'm not sure if we have the time to execute this trade before data. Okay, so now we want to see a fake out under 71. All right, so we want to see a fake out under this blue line for now. It's not an entry yet. We want to see a fake out right under that price. See bears fail, right? That's what we're claiming or going for here. Okay, and that's not exactly behaving like a fake out, so at least not yet. See how that blue line keeps acting as support for the downside? It's not like acting as a trampoline back higher. That's what's telling me to slow down here. So at this point, I would need to see this candle close above, right? Or get a fake out through like here, or low of day would be the other alternative. But I wouldn't say I'm super optimistic about this now. And again, pretty happy we waited on that. Okay, right. So that's not the candle you'd like to see post confirmation. So we're gonna wait this thing out, right? We got 3 minutes till market data. Time to chill until then. All right, and there's the breakout. So let's see if we can get some volume here. We're close. Okay. That's increasing and above that white line, right? It's kind of a little mushroom head above. Again, we'd be looking for a breakout towards like that 800 area now. Let's see how this thing sustains or holds. We're looking at a 692 stop loss team, 692. Oh, reference price like there-ish, 704. 12 points of risk would be 2 contracts. And let's see how this thing pulls back. I'm watching here carefully, got everything set up. Still almost expect this to fake out first. I reckon there's still probably a low to be made under 692. Let's see. Maybe not. So watching here carefully. I'm going to wait a second here still. That feeling of the 692 lower still kind of feels like it's in play. Quite shake that sensation. I do feel like there's kind of maybe a little bit of a fake out still in play. Okay, watch this close. And we've got a new confirmation here, so we can go and kind of reset this. Go 709 stop loss. Okay, so watching carefully here, team. So 2 contract position. Again, guys, please do the math yourself, right? I'm doing that determination based between the reference price and the red line. In this context, that's 11 points. So 11 times 20, 220. I can buy 2 contracts. Your trading view calculator should tell you, right, if you're above or below your max risk number, and you can adjust from there. All right, so I am in average price 718.25, 718.25. 2 contracts, stop loss at 709. Keep pushing. It's not a bad entry, but it may be a little bit of a slower move than I maybe would have wanted here. He's gonna get over 30. Okay, keep pushing here. Keep pushing. Not a bad candle. Fine. Keep pushing. There we go. In good shape here, team. Okay, so we can get through that 40 handle now. Beautiful. Keep pushing. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can get a nice little pop and close maybe. Come on. Does feel a little bit like it's stalling here at this 40 handle. Okay, give me one more good pop here. Come on. Kind of feeling like this move is stalling out here a little bit, guys. I definitely have that like suspicion floating around in my brain. So, next decent pop I can get, I'm going to look to get out. We're starting to stall here, maybe a little bit more than I'd like. And I got to make sure I'm taking these $1,000 wins. They're very valuable. Okay, come on, one more decent pop. There it is. Beautiful. All right, guys, I am out. Close price 747.25. Close price 747.25. Nice little win there. I'll take that. 1,200 bucks. Let's go. And maybe a little bit early, but that's okay. Oof. Yeah, 5 seconds too early on that close, but that's fine. That's the way it goes. Hey, nice work, Kiki. Good job, Eric. Well done, Austin. Let's go, team. Really good job here. Great little trade, right? Really, really good. Very happy with that. Now, closed it for sure. Looks like 10 points too early, maybe 15 points too early. But a good win's a good win. I will not complain about that. Let's go. 1,400 bucks. Nice work. Out of boy, Chris. 1,100. Very well done. Really good job here today, team. Really good week, everybody. I got to say, very proud of everyone with the bounce back this week. Really nice. Nice work, Don. Let's go, Todd. Come on, 1,200. Congratulations. Great feeling, right? Being one and done. Great feeling. Nice work, Ghost. Love it, team. So everyone's green. That's absolutely beautiful. That's all I could ask for. That's fantastic. Okay, maybe not a perfect close, but we closed as P&L is increasing, and before it rug pulls us, right? So kind of one of the realities, I guess, of being a profitable trader is you're going to have to get used to closing before the market turns. And that's exactly what what we did here today, right? So I don't have any problems closing where I did. It would have been nice to close at, 765. That would have been a really big number. But I'll keep taking these little wins. They stack up very fast. This motherfucker. One day I'm gonna update my computer and it's not gonna interrupt the stream. Not today though. Not today. And everyone's nicely green on the week here so far too, right? I think we've done a really good job. Not falling for bullshit, I would say, this week. Been nice. And then again, right? We did effectively play a fake out scenario. So here was our confirmation. Here was our quote unquote fake out. Here was our confirmation of the fake out, right? And then we knew once we saw Bears fail and Bulls are back in control that we should have that straight path higher. So, I mean, that trade now, Austin, should be recovering from anything of last week. So this should be putting back to new all-time highs. Or should have recovered the drawdown there from last week. So if it didn't or it hasn't, right? Look into your position sizing, or make sure that was on par, or where were your entries versus exits. I guess the follow up then, right, would be how far away are you from green? But should be up. Yeah, those 4-5 trades should have picked us up. How's everyone feeling? Everyone feeling good? Like, I personally don't think I'm going to place any further trades here. I think I'm going to keep on the dopamine detox path. And just keep stacking up those wins. Good, Chris. Love to hear that. Today, your first day of the eval, or is today day number 2? Fantastic. So make sure it finishes this well, right? Oh, please don't give away those profits. Yeah, look, the first rule, guys, of following your trading, right, or your trading rules, is you don't take trades that don't follow your rules, right? So one of my favorite Jim Simons quotes, I don't know if you guys Um, I know who Jim Simons is, but he unfortunately is no longer with us. Rest in peace. But he ran a fund called Renaissance Technologies, and they effectively averaged like 35% a year for like 30 years. Absolutely freaks, right? In their ability to generate alpha. And basically, he said the first rule of quantitative trading is that you don't do anything but follow the rules. So, that for me is the same thing when it comes to this. It's really tempting. It's really fun to take risk on. Like, there's a thrill to see your ball spin about the roulette wheel, even if it doesn't land on black or red. So, we're really focusing on not right taking those trades to get a good feeling. The good feeling will come when we follow our process, but the long-term win is much bigger, right? If we don't compromise our rules in the short term. Yeah, see, Logan, I think you're making a very important point there. Sometimes slowing down actually speeds you up because it gets you to be rational instead of P&L brained. And I know you've got multiple accounts, so doing 2,800 per account, that's a fantastic place to be, right? Like no day job is going to pay you that. So really, really awesome. Like it is such a weird career, but you almost have to like constantly humble yourself to keep progressing. It's it's stupid. It sucks. But the more that we can put our ego aside, generally the better things go. Easier said than done. And I'm yeah, I mean as much fault as anyone else here. But that's the hardest thing to like consistently wrap your head around. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100% Jake. That's the constant fight. Good, Kath, right? And that comes like I'm a big believer that anxiety in trading occurs when we start to get answers to questions we didn't know we needed to ask. Right. And so that's, I think, where anxiety comes in because we start to see things that we didn't really anticipate as a possibility. And the more that we can make that process consistent and that muscle memory, the easier it is for us to be able to visualize effectively all three trading outcomes, right? I was talking about this with someone last night, but it's like the end goal basically of your trading system is to make it so consistent that when you close your eyes, you can see what a winning trade looks like, what a losing trade looks like, and what being early to a trade looks like. And just takes time basically to train yourself to get there. But exactly what you're describing is that process starting to happen. And honestly, love to hear that. That's a beautiful place to be. But John, I think that's a really important lesson, right? When you didn't try to just get in and you like forced yourself to slow down, look how much easier making that money felt, right? So, yeah, okay, a bit of a bummer to have missed it on the eval. That sucks. But you learned something very important there. And I would really much recommend you note that down, right? And you find yourself your way to create that extra like moment of breath. I'm also a big believer that my first time where I feel like I should take an entry is usually still early. I can usually still get a better price than that. So like the first impulse I have to click submit is usually wrong. And the more I can force myself to slow down that process, generally the less time I spend in drawdown. And then, like, it's from there, guys, like the way I'm tracking it or the way that I'm training my gut is with my reference price, right? So when I'm looking at a trade and I make my reference price, we're just going to say 722 in this example, just random, right? When I then look at my like trade execution, I'm then going back in my journal and I'm judging, did I get a good entry or a bad entry based on the reference price, right? Because this is what I'm looking for. So if I get an entry at 728, terrible entry. But if I get one at 713, that's good. So I make it binary. If I'm not tracking that or I don't have that technique, then when I'm looking at my entries, it's kind of bullshit on how I'm going to study them because my best entry is always going to be 7-11-25, right? But that's not realistic that I would have gotten that. So we need to really make sure that we're being deliberate in how we're training our gut to create that extra moment. And that's why I use that reference price, right? It becomes that blue line becomes my good entry, bad entry moniker. Bad entry is one where I pay a premium to get my entry. A good entry is one where I get a discount relative to the risk that I take on. So in the trade that I took here this morning, right, it was a really good entry because I got 2 or 3 points less than my reference price. So I saved about $120 worth of risk and increased my risk reward. So that's like a double jeopardy victory, right? It's a double positive. So not only did I increase the probability of getting a larger win than an average loss, but I also increased my margin of error by buying myself a discount. And when I consistently am making those decisions and optimizing my trading on gamifying that, I make a lot more money than looking at obscure random things. That makes sense? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah, good trading day here, team. Again, we probably left a little bit of money on the table here, but nothing too crazy. I'm not going to worry about that too much here. 100%, Chris. It makes a huge difference. Huge difference. And it just allows you, right, for things to slow down in the moment, right? When we know what we're looking for, we're almost like not allowing the market to trick us into chasing it. And like chasing the market's really fun, but you tend to just get absolutely smacked around. Like 1 out of 10 trades ends up being just completely catastrophic, and that's enough to blow up your account. So we have to kind of combat that by being in control or optimizing for control first. It's so tempting because it's so fun, right? It's so much fun to have the hope of thinking you're going to make money. But that's like it's like the same hope you get when you buy a lottery ticket and then you go on Zillow and you sort by high to low and you're like, oh, I could buy this $65 million mansion in Malibu. And it's like, okay, like it feels good. You got some hope, but it's probably not going to happen for you. Like If I'm insulting a future $1 billion lottery ticket winner, apologies, but I don't think that's how you get rich. I think the only way is to be the one who knocks, right? Like you have to be in control. And then if you remain in control, then you can stay in the market long enough to win. Hey, nice work, Mike. You're stacking up those base hits, man. I love to see it. Yeah, it is, Kath. And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it because in every other profession, you almost get rewarded for, uh, oh, I spent 6 hours on this project. Or like if you're a student, oh, I spent, 10 hours in the library studying for this exam. And there's such an emphasis on uh, like working hard. And in trading, working hard is very different than trading. So, like the work you do outside of market hours, studying your trading, journaling your plays, tracking your data, right? Learning from those mistakes, being deliberate. That's the hard work. That's not the trading is kind of like the fun part we do in between. And most people think that they can trade through their problems, but that's not the reality. Or I've yet to meet someone who can. And so you kind of just have to take the feedback the market's giving you, fix those problems, and then get back to trading. And that's like if you're committing to being a trader, that's kind of the lifestyle you're committing to trading. Let's go, Tammy. So you must have just closed here at this like 80 area. Really well done. Freaking awesome trade. Yeah, these are two nice back-to-back days, guys. We've done really well here this week. It's been really fun. 1160 on the day. Oops. And just wait, guys. We haven't had a breakout like this where it's been a smooth, clean move in so long. We haven't had opportunities to get back into pyramiding, right? But if the market's going to open up its tops again and we're going to go from choppy, 15-point bullshit moves to being able to get 65 points on a move or 50 points or 100 points even, we're going to start to open up a lot of opportunities for us to start to be more aggressive effectively in adding to our winning positions and creating those risk-free lottery tickets. So we'll get to a period here where markets open up again, and we'll be able to start to push for those really big wins. And that's where things get really fun. So we'll keep focusing on the variables we can control. But until then, right, if the market's going to keep cooperating like this and give us these type of tradable days, yeah, we'll be able to do some really fun stuff with our ability to pyramid. This today should have also passed my last count. So tomorrow, I think I should be trading with a couple more. It's gonna be fun. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, 100. Yeah, Rusty. It's a complete and total game changer. It's awesome. Yeah, technically a new all-time high here in the portfolio by $500, something along those lines. So no complaints. That's pretty awesome. And yeah, we'll keep building this out, team. We'll keep growing this. We'll keep pushing it. Yeah, feeling pretty good. Feel really happy with how we traded here this week so far. Any other questions here, everybody? I'm gonna go final call and do a little sauna session here in a second. All right, beautiful. If you are a DTR guest here, if you've just been joining us for trial, please make sure you book your call with your DTR advisor. They'll help you maximize your potential while you're here. The link can be found in the description here of this live stream. Please, make sure you jump on a call. I'm sure they'd be very happy to help you and make sure that you're, really making as much money as you can. But besides that, here, team, it's been a really strong trading day. Corinna, welcome back. Great to see you in here today. Maybe you're the good luck charm. And yeah, excited for what's been a really good week here so far, team. So looking forward to what should hopefully be a little bit of a smoother market for the next 2 months. Fingers crossed. But we'll keep doing what we got to do, keep stacking up our wins, and we'll keep compounding away here, team. So really well done, everybody. And yeah, we'll be back at it again here tomorrow. Same time, like always, 6:15 Pacific, 9:15 Eastern. And yeah, we'll get after it then. So have yourselves a great day. Rusty, enjoy, I'm sure, another well-deserved holiday. And we shall be back at it here soon enough. So have yourselves a great day, team. And we'll talk soon.